How are you feeling going into this camp?
I feel great. Yeah, I had a long camp, and I feel really good. Yeah.
Gold nail polish. Is that a
Black and gold.
black and gold? Any significance?
Yeah, it looks like the belt. So, I like it. I like the colors. It's my high school colors as well. So, yeah.
So basically, everybody kind of feels like this is the title eliminator. Have they said that to you? That if you win, you get the title shot?
They said it prior, but you just never know with the UFC. So I just want to put on a good performance that will speak volumes. Not really talk too much. Just have a good performance, and.
Is there a performance like one that you've already had that you want to repeat? Because everybody always talks about, you being so dominant with your wrestling. Is there one fight so far that you'd like to repeat?
No, I think everybody's different. It's nice to have different outcomes, and it's nice to, I don't know, it's cool because everybody's different,
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to have a different feel out there. So, but either way, I think I'll have a dominant performance, and, I just got to go and do it now.
One thing we've talked about before is how almost every time somebody describes your victory, they're like, well, but she's so much bigger than everybody else, right? Which is kind of a weird thing to say because clearly you guys all weigh in together and the same weight. But how do you feel about that when people just say that you're winning because you're bigger?
I mean, my skill really, it kind of speaks for itself. It's not really like the power or anything like that. Like, I wouldn't say that, I have more strength than whoever. It's just my skill level. I've been wrestling since I was 3 years old. So I hope I can, pull something out that's really great, So I do think I'm also, strong. I don't think I'm not strong, but I definitely feel like it's a lot of skill. A lot of skill, years of doing it, years of wrestling with different bodies and knowing different bodies and working with different bodies. And so, I think I just have more experience in that field.
Do you think anybody can catch up to you? Because that's the thing people say whenever they're going to, face you. Well, I better work on my takedown defense. It's like, well, like you just said, you've been doing it since 3. So.
Yeah, I think that, they have ability to, somewhat stop the first, attack, but I have multiple attacks. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the trouble that they've had with me is just, I know with Alexa, she stated when they did the media with her afterwards, they're like, I think, they're like, oh, is it because you're from Mexico and Mexicans? The wrestling's not as developed there, and she's like, no, I think I did everything right, but she's just really good at chaining her attacks together. And I remember looking back at the fight. I went and watched my fight again, and I was like, yeah, I was chaining really well against her, and that's kind of why it was hard for her to get back up to her feet.
Do you even practice wrestling anymore? I mean, it sounds weird, but do you spend most of your time working on your hands since you are obviously so far ahead on wrestling?
I still wrestle. I don't wrestle as much. Obviously, when I wrestled, but I do wrestle. I put that in there, and I work on everything just like everybody else. But obviously, wrestling just comes a lot easier.
Yeah. So, where do you think Nina's the most dangerous?
I think she has good range, and she has good attacks, and she's no, I think she's very technical, very technical opponent, and I look forward to being in the cage with her.
I mean, she has a great advantage, fighting with the champion as a partner. What I mean? With Amanda, she has a great training partner. At all times.
Right.
So there's a great advantage too in that whole champion mindset. Just rubs off on you as well.
Yeah.
So, do you see that as any sort of thing that you have to contend with, that you don't have a champ in your midst that you're training with?
That's so funny that you said that, because I remember talking about this not too long ago, and they were saying, do you think she has an advantage training with the champion? Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? I think, when you're around success, you learn the tools for success, right? But I've been around successful people and champions my entire life, so I've developed these tools over time. I don't need a current champion to show me what a champion needs to do in order to be a champion. That makes sense. I don't know if I said that
right. Tatiana, there are other strawweights kind of making a case and campaigning for a title shot next.
Correct.
Larson being one of them.
Correct.
Do you feel like you have to have an emphatic win? Do you think that maybe just getting a W is not enough on Saturday? Do you think you need to kind of really hammer home that you're the next in line?
I go in there with the intent of always making an emphatic win, always having an emphatic win. I never go in there like, man, you know what, I kind of want to edge it out, So, when I'm in there, I'm not going to be thinking about those things. I'm not going to be thinking about the belt. I'm going to be thinking about getting whoever it is out of there. So, I think, an emphatic win will help my case, and that's what I'm striving for. I always strive for that. It doesn't matter if it's my first fight in the UFC or if it's, my last fight in the UFC. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, do you think you have a better case, though, than Michelle at this point?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm beating people in a dominant fashion.
Yeah.
She's kind of edging decisions out, So I just think, like, my dominant performances speak for themselves kind of thing, So.
A lot of people say, Tatiana, she's the heavy favorite, and everyone's already looking ahead. You versus Jessica Andrade, getting excited. How do you stay focused to, take her seriously and train as hard as you need to when everybody's already looking ahead?
My competitiveness, I don't need people to tell me where I'm at in the division. I kind of know where I'm at, but, there's someone out there that wants to beat me up, so that's my motivation right there.
A lot of people talk about your wrestling, and they say, female Khabib, one of the best wrestlers overall in MMA. How do you feel about those comparisons? Do you like that? Do you want people to say, no, Khabib is the female Tatiana? How do you feel about it?
Obviously, I'm flattered. It's nice to be compared to a world champion that's undefeated in the UFC. But I'm also my own fighter. And it's an honor. Like I said, it's an honor. But we do things differently. But I think what they're more or less saying is that we're just really dominant in there. So
you touched on it before. Talking about who you train with. You're obviously up and coming. A lot of hype around you. You're based out the Inland Empire, not known for having a big camp out there. Is there sometimes pressure when you're coming up to change it, or what is just that confidence you have in your team that they're going to carry you to the championship?
My team is willing to work with me at any time of the day, and they will work hard with me. They will cut weight with me. They're dedicated to me. They love me, and they want me to succeed because I'm like their daughter. So I'm. Like I said in a previous interview, my team, I'm fully confident in them and their abilities to get me to where I need to be, and that's to become a world champion.
Do you think the Rancho Quakes will have you throw out a first pitch?
That'd be cool.
Tatiana, how do the things that you learned surviving cancer translate to some of the things that you have to overcome when you're training in MMA?
I think just having a positive mindset. I think a lot of times, we go through these camps and sometimes, things don't go our way during camp and we're like, man, I'm not ready. Or, you have these like little things, these little battles with yourself. And I think what I learned with cancer is you always have to be positive in the power of the mind and always having a good mindset and just willing to conquer even when I don't feel well, even when I'm having a long day and it's like midweek and I'm like, dang, like I've gone, I've had 5 days of hard work, like I really need a break, just pushing through those days and making the most of every single workout that I have. I know, like, I have to like mentally put myself up for every workout, because if I just go in there and like go through the motions of that workout, that's a missed workout right there. So.
And have you thought about the impact that you have on cancer survivors? Because when a person's seeing how strong you are and what a high level you perform at, have you thought about the impact on people who are going through the same thing that you went through?
Yeah, I always think about that. It's nice, I always try to talk about that every single time. I have an interview or anything like that. They usually bring it up themselves. I don't really need to talk about it, but yeah, it's nice to be kind of like an advocate, for people that are they're going through cancer and they kind of feel run down. And, I feel like it's nice to represent those people and kind of help bring them up with their fight as well. Because I know when I was going through it, I kind of retreated, and I did it a little bit by myself because I didn't want to worry my family too much, So it's nice to kind of uplift other people that are going through that battle right now.
Tatiana, what do you think of Jessica Andrade's slam knockout of Rose?
I totally called it. I bet it. No, I'm just kidding. No. I thought, it was a really good fight prior, before the slam. I thought, what everybody thought, that Rose was doing really well. But Andrade just didn't let her breathe, and she had a good game plan not to let her breathe. Really, I mean, just overwhelm her. So crazy ending. Didn't call it. Just
You mentioned earlier about Mexican fighters have a certain reputation. How did Andrew Ruiz's performance over Andy Joshua kind of inspire you for this weekend, maybe get another belt for Mexican heritage in combat sports?
No one expected that either. But that was amazing. Congratulations to him, and yeah, it's an inspiration. He's the first Mexican heavyweight, correct? Yeah. So definitely, want to represent, and that's definitely an inspiration.
The slam KO. What do you think Rose did wrong? What would you have done differently in that position?
She was countering, obviously with the Kimura, and the first time she got slammed, I thought maybe she would adjust, maybe I shouldn't maybe I shouldn't hold on to this Kimura, and Jessica adjusted, and so she was able to slam her on the head. So I would have done something differently. I would have stepped to the side, but that's, for us if we ever end up fighting, I don't know.
Andrade's strategy, which I mean is kind of a wrestling type of strategy, does that work on someone like you who has that pedigree and that background?
I don't think she wins scrambles against me. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. She has good initial wrestling, but her transitioning is not developed yet. Not as developed as mine. That's all. She's great. Not taking anything away from her. Obviously, she's a champ, But I just think my transitions are better and my scrambles are better than hers.
I know that I don't want to get ahead of ourselves too much, but you talked to the past that possibly moving to 125, and you're fighting on the same card as Valentina Shevchenko this weekend. Will you be paying any attention to that fight as well?
I pay attention to all the women fighters, Maybe I'll do a trio. Maybe I'll be the first 3 division champions. I'm just kidding. Watch out, man. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Could you do that? I mean, theoretically,
I mean, if I gained a lot of weight. I mean, I naturally walk around at 130, so that's, I'd have to gain some weight. But yeah, I watch all the women, and I think I could be competitive at any weight class. Maybe not 145. I don't know. Then I would really feel like I'm pushing it. But yeah.
How hard is it for you to make the weight now?
For
you to
150.
Yeah.
It's around, I walk in 9 pounds over.
So it's not
it's not that bad, yeah.
Is there one food you miss the most then when you're coming?
I'm not a foodie. No. I enjoy good food. If I taste it, I'm like, oh, that's delicious, But I'm not a crazy foodie or anything like that. I'm kind of a bird,
Right.
I pick here and there. I'm just all day long.
So what do you do though after a tough camp? Is there any kind of sort of reward you give yourself, or?
I don't have anything in particular, but you know what? I always end up going to the airport, and I always pick up an Anyam pretzel. I don't know, because it's right there. And I'm like, oh, this is delicious.
That's it.
I don't know. It's convenience right there.
Yes, but you don't buy yourself anything after a fight or anything just to treat yourself. No.
No.
Good girl.
I'm boring.
No,
You're making me sound boring.
No, it's smart. You're saving your money. It's good.
Do you know Andy Ruiz at all? Because he's kind of around the same relative area that you're going.
I don't know.
No.
I don't really follow too much of the boxing. I follow certain fighters that I really like Triple G and Lomachenko. Obviously Canelo. Canelo's really great. But I don't really follow heavyweight boxing too much. But I did watch the Tyson Fury and the Wilder fight, and that was insane. He was just from the dead. I'm like, oh my god. But yeah, so but that's as much as I watch. I really like watching MMA. Obviously, I watch all of it. It doesn't really matter organization, but I watch all of it.
You always tweet it. So.
I know.
I do sometimes. I've been slacking lately because I'm I'm in camp, yeah.
Right.
So I'm like not. I go kind of quiet when I get in camp, and everybody's like, "Are you alive?" I'm like, "I'm here."
Well, we've done UFC now together a lot. Have you gotten better, or not gotten better, but like sometimes people say after they've worked on something where they're analyzing fights, it actually made them a better fighter too.
Mhm.
So have you learned anything through that process of looking at other fighters and breaking them down? Is that anything you've integrated for yourself?
Yeah, I always do. I'll watch it. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I'm gonna try that. I'll go and try it at practice and stuff like that. I do that with everything. Like I'll watch like jiu-jitsu videos. I'm like, I'm gonna try this at practice today, and I'm like excited to go to practice and try it. I don't know. I'm a nerd.
Is there anybody that you like get more inspiration from than anybody else? Like your favorite fighter? Or
I have tons of favorites. Like they're all so great, so it's hard to pick like a couple.
Yeah.
But I don't want to name any names,
Right.
but I love them all. They're all great, and I have great coworkers. So.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Tatiana, what are your thoughts on Ferguson versus Cowboys?
It's a tough fight. It's a good fight. And I never, if you notice anything else about me, I never pick one fighter of the other because anything can happen in mixed martial arts. So I think it's going to be a good fight, and I'm really excited. Dad Cowboy is a beast, so he's beasted it.
Is that the fight you're most looking forward to on the card, or outside your own, or is there another?
I was going to say, I'm looking forward to mine the most. There are so many great fights. I can't choose one. But there's amazing fights, and I think everybody's going to be really excited for this card. I know. It sucks that I have to be in the back though.
You're just about 3 years with the UFC now. How would you kind of describe your progression? Are you happy with your career arc? Would you expect to be further along at this point? You had a long layoff right at the beginning. So
Yeah.
How would you kind of sum up your whole?
This is so weird. You guys keep bringing up questions I literally was thinking of the other day. I was like in the car with my boyfriend, and I was like, man, I feel like if it wasn't for that stupid shoulder surgery, I would have had the belt already. But everything happens for a reason, and I think I got stronger in a lot of areas. So I think it's you always wish I didn't have that layoff, but I think it made me stronger and a better athlete. So. I think I feel very confident. I think I've had a good career so far, and I just want to be, continue to be dominant and put on great fights for the fans.
If the UFC does decide to go with Michelle for the next title shot, will you continue to fight, or will you just wait out if you win this fight?
No, I'll fight whoever. I don't like long layoffs. I know I had a long layoff, and that was just because there wasn't the matchups that they wanted for me, I guess. And but I like to stay busy, and a lot of times I was bothering them, and I was like, hey, I'll go to 125 and I'll fight anybody. I'll fight number 30 at 25. I don't really care. I didn't really care who I was gonna fight. I just wanted to fight because I'm very it's so funny because I go into fight week and I'm like, oh man, I have to cut weight, and then I'm like, oh wait, I already did that. Now I'm gonna fight. This is exciting. And then I'm like, and then I fight. I'm like, oh no, it's over. I gotta do it all over again. I'm sad because I have to wait to fight again. I'm like, dang it, it's gonna be months. But but I'll fight. It doesn't matter. I love fighting.
Your success, for those of us that have been following, it's almost kind of expected. You've been pegged as a potential champion since you were on Tough. For a fighter like Nina, she's almost fighting on borrowed time. She was almost getting out of MMA, and now she's on a 4-fight winning streak. Do you see any danger in a fighter like that who's sort of pushing above their pay grade for so long?
I find everybody dangerous, whether they are on a 5-fight winning streak or a 5-fight losing streak, I take everybody seriously the same. I think of them as the best in the world, and they're trying to take it from me. And my mentality is just to go out there and dominate and implement my game plan and do what I've been doing since a really young age, and that's win.
You were saying how much you love to fight. Now, there's other fighters like Donald Cerrone who talk about how they get sick with fear before a fight. But you're saying you don't have that?
I don't get scared. No. But I think it's just because I've been doing it for so long, and I'm like, at the end of the day, you know, when if anything, you know, if anything bad happens to me, I'm like, well, my family loves me, my friends love me, you know. I'm like, what's the worst outcome, you know? Like, I don't really care, and I just go out there and have fun and like just soak up the moment, because I've spoken a little bit about this before too. You know, in my Instagram post or something like that. That when I was wrestling, I just thought I was going to be wrestling till, you know, I was probably like 30 years old or something like that. And that it didn't end up going that way. I didn't end up being the Olympic champion that I knew I could have been. I didn't win multiple world medals like I thought I was going to be able to win. And I remember thinking, man, I really should have just embraced it. I put like a lot of pressure on myself, and I just remember being like always mean to everybody, like that I was gonna fight or wrestle at the time. And then I was like, why did I have this big old chip on my shoulder? I'm like, I should have just embraced it and just like gone with it and just enjoyed every moment of it. And that's what I'm doing now. Like, I've had this great opportunity to live out another dream, which is MMA. And, you know, same goal, be the best in the world. But now I'm just doing it a different way. Now I'm a little bit older, wiser, better athlete, and, you know, better mindset. And now I'm nice to everybody that I fight, you know. And if they're mean to me, I'm like, whatever, you know, we're going to fight. Hopefully afterwards he's to like me, you know. So I don't need to be mean to someone to fight them. And right now I'm just embracing everything, from the crowd to getting punched in the face.
Most dominant wrestlers that come into the UFC, I would say most, but a lot of dominant wrestlers that come into the UFC at some point develop a power punch, whether it's a cross or a hook, because you guys are strong. Mm-hmm. How's your boxing coming along? Are you getting into it? Are you fighting that power punch?
I think I'm pretty powerful. My coach said I hurt his shoulder. I don't know, so maybe I'm kind of strong, but I don't know. You know, I think my boxing's good. I just think, you know, I have a lot of other tools as well. You know.
You talk to other like young female wrestlers about using their skills and coming over to MMA, or was it something like only do what you really want to?
I think I don't try to influence anybody to ever do anything. If they want to do it, I'm going to support them, but I never like try to like push them into something, you know. Plus, when they're that age, I'm not like, hey, do you want to get punched in the face, little girl? Like, you focus on your wrestling and jiu-jitsu, you know, so. And then, you know, they end up doing the stand-up, like, pancreation and stuff like that. But, you know, save your brain for as long as you can, you know, so.
Are there any young high school, college female wrestlers that you go, man, if they transfer over to MMA, they would be like big shots for?
Yeah, there's this girl, Victoria Anthony. She's a wrestler, and I always like, man, if they open up an atomweight, she's gonna be a little beast. So yeah, I think if they did open an atomweight, she said she would try to get into the UFC and end up fighting. You guys are good. Thank you guys.